All right, and we are live. So, hey everybody, thanks for coming, thanks for watching. Today we're going to play Who Bought Better, and we're missing Echo-based collectibles today. He got a hold of us this morning, and he's got a little one that's sick that he needs to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna let the guys introduce themselves and plug their stuff. They've all got something going on. There's websites and Patreons and new podcasts. You guys are doing events and stuff, and then I'm going to start working on the poll. So let's go. I don't know how you guys see it, but I see Old School, Connor, Dan, and then Edison. But if you guys want to go ahead,
clockwise,
I'll start working on this.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Nick, Old School Pokemon. Got a YouTube channel. If you guys want to give me a follow on there, be much appreciated. Me and KetchumAll Collectibles do a bi-weekly podcast. Having a lot of fun with that. And then just recently, actually, if you're interested, started a Patreon account with Pallet Town TCG and Crystal Pokemon TCG. Should be a lot of fun with that. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm really looking forward to tonight. Had an awesome time last week doing this, and can't wait to do it again.
Awesome. Well, I'm Connor, Rock Pokemon. I also have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to give me a follow, shameless plug. Instagram as well, Rock Pokemon. Also do a podcast with Red or Blue, Rob, which you guys can find on both of our YouTube channels as well. Just kind of chop it up about the hobby, and yeah, super stoked and thankful to be here. So looking forward to it.
Hey everyone, I'm KetchumAll Collectibles, Dan. Nick mentioned our podcast. You can find me on Instagram and YouTube and eBay, all the same, KetchumAll Collectibles. I also did recently partner with Pokenomics, Jake, and we have a Patreon with monthly conversations and a Discord and all that. So you can find us over at Pokenomics on Patreon if you want to follow along there.
Hey, my name is Edison. My channel is just my name, EdisonSears. I don't have a Patreon or a podcast, so I feel a little bit left out there. But I do have a website, islecollectibles.com. Just launched Friday night. So if you want to check that out, that's where you can find me. And or on YouTube, just EdisonSears. But yeah, as other people said, I'm kind of excited to do the SPEC Show. It's always fun to talk about cards like this.
Now I feel left out because I don't even have a website. But yeah, guys, be sure to like and subscribe and go check out all these guys. Let's see. I will share the screen now. Get this poll asked. Got 18 watching, so we should get some good feedback on this first one here. But who bought it better? And we're gonna start from like the cheapest, and we're gonna go to expensive. This isn't a competition, and we're not saying whether or not these were good buys or good purchases, unless something is like an amazing buy or like or way overpriced, unless no one should be touching the thing. It's really mainly about which one you guys would prefer. And so when I ask your guys' opinion, you're going to give me a 1 or a 2. The 1 will be on the top and the 2 will be on the bottom. And so first up here, we've got a $20 CGC 9 Shining Fates ETB promo, Eevee. Or we got another promo here, Magikarp, Shiny Magikarp, 2016, factory sealed. And so let me get your pick in 3, 2, 1. Everybody went 2. Fantastic. All right. Well, then, Rock Pokemon, I want to hear why you picked 2.
Oh, because I love Magikarp. Easy as that. No, I collect Magikarps. I love them. You know, I like the optionality of a sealed promo. Like, I think that's a neat item to have for sure. Yeah, and I just love Magikarp, so that's my simple answer for this one.
Easy enough. I mean, it's not like this is breaking anybody's bank. You guys, I'm gonna spoil it for you. 100% of the audience chose Magikarp. It's kind of tough. I tried to include like lower dollar stuff, but did anybody have anything to say? I mean,
You lobbed us a
I
softball for the
almost
first
went-
one.
What was
what's that?
You lobbed us a softball for the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, Shining Fates, they made so many of those ETBs, and I think like a recency thing there too. I mean, they made so many of the Target promo Magikarps too, I'm sure, but they were 5 years ago, so not everyone has 100 sealed of those in their inventory right now, probably.
Oh,
Okay.
I could maybe defend the EV side too. Like, thinking about it more, I don't think the EV was that bad because I noticed like the card itself also has subgrades. I mean, you pretty much paid the price of grading it for the card already graded, and just like my experience with those XY promos, they're pretty garbage a lot of the time in terms of condition off the bat. So you're maybe even not even looking at like an 8 on the Magikarp if you were to grade it. Like, you do have the option, I guess, to keep it sealed and sell it that way later down. But I can definitely see why someone would value the EV. It's not like EV's not a popular Pokemon either.
Yeah. Yeah. I would prefer the Magikarp, but yeah, I mean, even the cost of grading, I mean, that you got that card for pretty cheap. But all right, we'll move on here. I'm gonna end that poll. All right, it'll get tougher. It'll get tougher. All right, so we got another graded CGC 9.5, no subs, amazing rare Raikou, or this Metazoo 1 year anniversary promo in hand, ready to ship. So I don't know too much about this promo, but I did try to include some more, Dragon Ball Super, Metazoo, other stuff. But yeah, and I'm not even gonna throw up a poll on this one. I just want to know. Let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 2. Okay.
I'm surprised, Dan.
So we're gonna go. Yeah, we'll go Dan, and we'll go Edison. So Dan, you start on the Raikou.
I picked the Raikou. I really like the amazing rares, so this was more of like the collector's pick, I think. CGC 9.5. That means a PSA 10 to me, so it's in really good shape. And the Metazoo promo. The Metazoo promo. I did look really quickly. They made 10,000 of those, and I think there's just, I mean, relative to Pokemon, that's very, very low quantity as far as the promo goes, but there's a lot of stuff Metazoo 1,000 or less. So yeah, that's kind of my thinking with that.
All right, Edison.
I kind of wish.
Did he answer your question for you?
It kind of reminds me of that EV VMAX. What you kind of mentioned was just how many people are sitting on those to eventually grade. I do agree, like the grade 9.5 is like really, I mean, that's impressive for a CGC card, but I feel like you're running into the same thing with it's just going to be so many people who have that same mentality to grade those. I don't know. It feels like it's kind of like it reminds me of that last one where you still have some options with the fact that it's a sealed promo, what you want to do later down. And on the off chance that Metazoo does survive 10 years from now, I mean, you're sitting on a gold mine. I think that card will actually be worth, exponentially more than a Raikou in 10 years from now.
Any other thoughts? Okay. All right. It's tough at these like lower dollar amounts, but I mean, what I like about both of these
because there's so little downside risk, right? So it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to I just probably buy both of them. But
Yeah.
the Amazing Rares have certainly, if you're looking at like a relative, like Amazing Rares have dramatically dropped in price. I mean, a lot of things have, obviously, but especially Amazing. You all right there, Swammey? Oh no. He's good. He's alive.
Our host is dying.
Guys, I
Man.
just like looked up and
I just barely.
Oh no.
Whew. All right,
Pipe,
moving on.
good?
Moving on here.
Moving on. Oh,
All
man.
right. All right. Now this one I am going to get the poll up. So let me get a poll going. All right. Yeah, rip Swammey. I know. All right. So I got the poll up. Let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 2, 2, 2. Everybody's on the 2.
Man, there's no
Okay.
disagreements tonight.
Jeez.
All right, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm positive. It's tough. You're like, okay, I want to get that shiny Lapras in there for $67. What else we got? And this is actually, let's go with Nick. How about you start?
So I picked number 2 because I actually think that's a decent price for all 11 cards. You're paying, I'm terrible at math, but you're paying like $5 a piece for them, $6 a piece for them, and with some of the cards in there, I think that's actually a decent price for the lot, especially where they're all newer cards. They're probably all going to be mint condition, so you could probably send them off yourself to get graded. And I'm looking at it from like a resale perspective, and I think you would do a lot better on those 11 cards than the single PSA 10 Lapras. Plus Lapras, nobody really cares about Lapras. I was never.
Hey, I love.
Hold on, I need to kick old school real quick.
I love Lapras.
This is the card for me. Literally, Shiny Star V, Shiny Lapras was like the shiny Pokemon I wanted.
I'll just leave now, I guess.
That and the Ditto. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. No, I totally agree. I think picking up a lot at that price gives you the optionality. You can sell off the baby shines. People love that Suicune. You can pick a couple of them to grade. I mean, it's just whether you want to keep a couple yourself, sell a couple. I mean, that's a great option. There's just a lot more to be had there. I think that 10s, especially modern 10s and PSA, I think people are crazy for paying those prices for them now. I really do. And that's the camp I'm in.
Yeah. Does anybody?
I agree with.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
I
No.
I agree with like everything that's to be sent. Like that first row by itself. I mean, you're getting way more than. Like that's over $10 a card in the Suicune and the Skyla in the second one. Like that's really like one of those cards graded probably pays off the whole lot. I mean, it almost seems like a no-brainer to go for the lot.
I actually thought it was a pretty good deal. I mean, you know, shiny Lapras. I wouldn't be afraid of buying at 67. It's a pretty collectible price. I mean, yeah, a lot could be graded in a 10 even, and maybe the price comes down on it. But even if it came down like $30, it's at the end of the day it's $30. But the other lot, like the cost to open those up, way more than $68. Like this is a pretty good deal. Like it's different. You have to look at each card. If this is like a vintage lot, you have to go back, look at each card, check out every back. But with these, you're like, yeah, I mean, they even got top loaders. They're probably in pretty good shape. And the audience, 83% with 75% went with the shiny lot. Shiny lot. All right, let's get some disagreements here. All right, this one is a CGC 10 with there's some 10s in there and a 9.5. 3 10s and a 9.5 Dragapult V Max, or a PSA 10 Space Time Distortion. Shaman Level X Pack 2009. Yeah, it's a Japanese Pokemon card. Both $70. I'm going to get this poll up, and then I'll ask you guys. How you guys doing tonight? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Mason, don't be giving it away.
Trying to keep up with the chat here. You got 36 people in here. It's awesome.
All right, can I get your answers in 3, 2, 1? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay.
Ooh, I like it.
All right. Let's go with Connor and Dan, and then I'll let Nick and Edison kind of back it up.
Yeah, so definitely understand, where people are coming from with the fact that it's incredibly hard to get a CGC 10 regardless of whether it's modern or vintage. But I think for me, again, at that price point for a modern card versus, a vintage card that, even though it's an old cert, it is a 10, an area of Pokemon I think is a little kind of underloved or underlooked right now. And I think it's just a cool, unique card. Like I like that card. I like that set. So that's really where I'm coming from, even though I'm having to pay $30 in shipping.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's the United Kingdom. There's a couple of those, but in order to get some of the cooler stuff and the right dollar amount, I just had to take it. But Dan, you want to go?
Yeah, I think Mason covered it when he said CGC 10 is an auto win. For me too, like had the time space distortion been an English card, I would have maybe been more into it. Japanese set cards, or this looks like it's like a special pack card or whatever. There's not my thing really. So even though it's a mass printed modern promo, to get the CGC 10 is impressive. I've graded thousands of cards, and I think I can count on one hand still how many 10s I got.
All right, Edison, you got something to say?
Some of the things that Dan said kind of made me realize too, like I agree, like how rare a CGC 10 is, and I feel kind of bad, but I'm hoping that this is an actual 10 grade card by PSA that if you inspected that, it holds up to standards by PSA's rigorous grading standards now. And kind of like what Rock said, I think this is definitely like one of those errors that's kind of undervalued or underappreciated. And I talk about this in a couple, like in the past, but with the games coming out again, like the retros for these games, I don't know, I just feel like the Diamond and Pearl era can't get any cheaper than it already is. Like there's only an upside to it. And I think you're going to wait a long time to really get that upside for the Dragapult, especially because right now people, I think, still consider a PSA 10 and a CGC 10 similar in price range, even if the chance of getting one is vastly different. I hope that answered it.
Any thoughts, Nick?
I would pretty much agree with everyone. One quick side note is Space Time Distortion. That card gives me nightmares because I actually had an English copy of that card, PSA 9, and I tried selling it. I sold it like 10 times on eBay, and every single time it was a non-paying buyer. A few of the times the person returned it, they didn't like it. So yeah, I just have nightmares about that card. So I'll pick anything besides that one.
Well, we got this was better. We had a 61% pick the Space-Time Distortion, 40% pick the Dragapult.
Wow.
That card's a pop 28 total from the Shaman packs. There's other packs with the same card, but that's
I
Free.
love.
Not much out there.
I spent like $125 to get 2 of these raw.
Mm.
I love this card. So that's kind of why I picked this, because Dragapult is one of my favorite of the new Pokemon in the new generation. It's an awesome Pokemon. They make it look super sick, like he shoots dragon missiles out of his head. It's pretty sick. And it's a CGC 10, which I think CGC 10s can save Modern from just being overpopulated. There was at least one other CGC 10 up for sale. But yeah, Space-Time Distortion, I would definitely go. This one's tough because like the Dragapult, like you would buy it and then it'd be like a long-term sit. I think the Space-Time Distortion would move first, but I just love that card. I'd probably buy the Space-Time. But all right, we'll keep it moving. Okay, so we got a PSA 9 Snorlax Hollow CD promo. It's a really cool Snorlax. And then we got a CGC 9 Charmander Evolutions Toys R Us promo. And I will put this up in a poll.
Man, these are tough, Swammey. Good
This
picks.
one's really tough.
Yeah, it's starting to get there, huh? It's starting to get there.
I have a good story about this one, actually.
Oh, sweet.
Sweet.
All right, I'll hit up the next poll before we ask the question, so I'm not just sitting there typing. But okay, can I get your answers in 3, 2, 1? 2, 1, 2, 2. Okay, so we'll go Nick, and then Connor. You could follow it up with 1.
So I had to go with 2 because, funnily enough, I'm the one who actually bought that card.
You serious?
That's incredible.
No, I've never.
Did you actually pay for it?
What was that?
Did you actually pay $118, or what was the best offer?
No, it was. I just bought it now.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I actually really do like the Charmander Toys R Us promo card. I've never actually owned one. And so I was just looking on eBay one day and I saw that one and was immediately purchased for my little display case to add into my little office there. But I just love the artwork on it. It's Charmander. Charmander's one of my favorite Pokemon. And then I like the combination of Pokemon and Toys R Us, because a kid growing up in the 90s, we all went to Toys R Us, and now you don't have those anymore. So I think it's a really unique promo. Plus I really like the artwork of it. So that was an easy one for me.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Look, I mean, it's an iconic art. I love the way they put that promo card together, the Charmander. But for me, as someone who loves Japanese Pokemon cards and who loves the CD promo set, I think when I think about them, and both of these are probably going to end up being super high pop cards. They already are, right? A lot of the CD promos are super prevalent, and a lot has been graded. But for me, when I think about the Gen 1 Pokemon that I like more, I'm actually going to go with the Snorlax for sure. And I think, again, for me, it's always tough, because if it's like if I can get the vintage card at the same price as the modern card in a similar grade, I'm going to go with the vintage one I like all day long. And that's just a bias I have for sure, self-admittedly.
Well, I'm glad most of the guys picked the Charmander there, Nick. But the poll is 56% Snorlax CD promo and then 43% Toys R Us Charmander. I love that little Toys R Us what's crazy is that a lot of kids, unless they're in Canada, are not gonna have the Toys R Us anymore. I'm sorry, Dan or Edison, did you guys have anything to say though?
For me, it was like Nick said. I mean, Toys R Us takes me back. That's where I bought my Game Boy Color. That's where I bought my Pokemon Yellow. I actually went in 2016 when this promo came out. I went to my local Toys R Us and got one. So
Sweet.
that's what swung it for me. I mean, Charmander's a top Pokemon for me, but Snorlax is up there too. I mean, check them out.
Yeah, I love that artwork.
Wait, was this
Snorlax.
like a cheap price?
I
Nick, did
think
you check,
it's
was-
about average. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good price. I didn't really do too much research
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like an
I'd
impulse
say-
buy or if it was something like it was already lower than market and you decided that it was like a good thing to buy at the time.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was really cool. I like CGC a lot. So when I saw that it was CDC 9 with the subgrades, got to go with the subgrades. It was more so just an impulse buy for me.
Gotta go with the subgrades unless you're paying $10 a subgrade, right?
Too much money.
We're all in that dilemma.
Whoa.
All right. Yeah, so I went over the poll. We'll go on to the next one here. And we've got 2 raw cards. They were both in pretty good shape. We've got a Koga's Ninja Tricks, the band card. And then we have a 2016 first place Mew. So I got the poll up. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 2, 2, 2, 2. Gosh, take it.
That band card seems really expensive.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I thought they
I don't
were.
know if prices
It's
went up or-
absolutely ridiculous for that card.
What?
There are
All
so
right, then
many
you guys
of
can go.
those. I'm sorry, but there are so many of those band cards out there that I think they are one of the single most overhyped vintage products in all of Pokemon is the band cards from Gym Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down. I mean, you watch guys open boxes, like it's not like the White Stars. It's not like the secret rares like Imakuni's Doduo. Those just don't get pulled. This card, there's an innumerable amount of them. So, I mean, you can get I'm pretty sure you can get a PSA 9 for that price right now. So I'm not really sure.
I was gonna say, are they that expensive now?
It's an Australia sale.
That is true.
Australia,
That is
yeah.
We didn't. Did any of us bring up
They
the
always
fact
overpay.
about the U.S. Postal Service not shipping to the Netherlands? Did you hear about that?
I
I did hear
did.
about that.
They're suspending. Oh, I better look this up before I say. But yeah, the U.S.
Australia and the Netherlands, or Australia and New Zealand.
Is that it? Suspends Australian deliveries. So that might be it. Because I didn't even think about it. I just saw the dollar amount and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, 2 raw cards. But yeah, I really liked your assessment on that because you can pull these readily. I've seen them pulled on the Card Economist stream before. It's been a while, but yeah, I mean, I thought they were going. I thought because there was a big hype over banned cards, and I thought they spiked up to like $50 raw.
Yeah.
Which
That sounds about right.
okay. I don't know if anybody had anything to add. 74% have picked Mew first place. And it's kind of weird because I'm pretty sure I saw a Mew 4th place, same art.
Yeah, it's the stamp's the only different thing on those.
Stamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, easy one. Move on here. Okay, so
Boy.
this one is a Metazoo Kickstarter reverse hollow of the Jersey Devil or a Bag-On CGC 9 SH10, so the shiny Bag-On. Yeah.
How does he know it's low pop?
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
You must be telling the truth.
Did he mean no pop?
Yeah.
It was autocorrect on his phone.
I wonder if, like, when they actually come out, I wonder if people are going to be putting like low census in the names of their cars. Oh man.
All right, so I got the poll up. Let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, and 2. Edison on the 2. So we'll go because Dan is the Metazoo guy. Of the oh my God, you're wearing it. You got the shirt. Wow.
I wore it.
Hey, at least you got the Snorlax in the background there. Yeah. So we'll go Dan
this is
and
unfair.
then Edison.
Dan is obviously sponsored.
Yeah.
I paid for this shirt. Yeah, for me, I really honestly like Metazoo. It just feels more like if 5 years from now it's a thing, which isn't a guarantee by any means, but these Kickstarter things, I'm really intrigued by how low print they are, less than 1,000 copies for the hollows and the reverse hollows. Obviously they're not going to see the attrition like base set first edition Pokemon did, or Alpha Magic or anything like that. The attrition is going to be essentially 0, but the rarity is still there. Shiny Bagon is pretty cool. So it was close. It was a narrow win for me.
Okay, Edison.
Yeah, I agree with just what the future for Metazoo is. Like, if Metazoo really does go far, like the distance for years from now, I mean, all the Kickstarter stuff is going to look like a genius idea to have bought it when it was this price. But I mean, even though low pop is definitely not true for like low actual census, there's no population report. That's so like you can't just say that. But I do agree, like those cards are really rare. The condition isn't great. It is actually kind of hard to find raw copies to grade, and it is. I don't know. To me, it just seems like Bagon, as part of the evolution line of Salamence, is always going to be popular, and that card is genuinely rare. To just talking like print amount, I do think that's something that there's not that many on the market. If people realize how rare that Diamond and Pearl Platinum, like shiny stuff was, it could get bought up really quick.
You guys got anything to add? I do have some. So I will give, before Nick and Connor go, there was a PSA 10 sale in December, real hype, for $750. It was at an auction. PSA 9 sold for $205 September 23rd, and then a PSA 9 in June sold for $100. So it's just kind of like a little bit kind of how are they selling the cards. And then I will add in October 27th of 2019 a PSA 10 sold for $154. Just to give you guys an idea, the pops on this guy. Let's see, Bagon. Can't be right.
The
okay,
Bagon
so
reverse,
there's 8. There's 8 PSA 10s and 22 PSA 9s. But did Nick, Connor, do you guys have anything to add?
I'm just not a big fan of the whole platinum era of Pokemon. I'm really not too big into that. Where with the Metazoo, I'm still kind of iffy on that as well. So this one was kind of a toss up for me, but I ended up going with the Metazoo just because like Dan was saying, the Kickstarter boxes and cards really don't have much of a print run, and the Jersey Devil is actually one of the cryptids that I actually knew about before Metazoo came out. So I think that's a cool card, and I just went for it just because of that, really.
Edison, can you tell TCG Art House the color of your paint job on your wall there? He's he's loving your paint job there. It's like an off cream too on the window paneling.
Yeah, I went for I want to be unproblematic, so I have neutral paint in my room.
Looks good. Yeah, it looks good.
Funny.
Thank you.
If you have any leftover paint, he would buy it from you.
I'll have to see. I might do an auction. Low population paint.
I mean, supply chains are screwed right now, so you have the upper hand.
Yeah. And if you just take a picture of this room, there's no guarantee it's the same exact shade. You know, in the industry right now is what I've heard. Just better to buy it from a distance source.
All right, so 54% chose the bag on. But I like that 50-50. Yeah, it could be a Kickstarter reverse hollow. We could be kicking ourselves for not buying at that price. But at the same time, a CGC 9 is pretty minty. These are really tough to grade. You've got that sheen over the entire friggin' card, and any little scratch shows. I love Bagon. I'm pretty sure this is definitely his first shiny appearance. Bagon is better than Shelgon and Salamence, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think the Metazoo could kick you. You could just be kicking yourself one day. But at the same time, if you're kicking yourself over Metazoo one day, this Bagon's doing A-okay too. So, yeah, we'll move on here.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a 2021 Topps Metazoo, and I think this is the final Metazoo in this comparison here. But Topps Metazoo dropped a couple days ago, or a Pokemon Celebrations Premium Figure Collection Pikachu VMAX pre-order, ships 10/22. All right, let me get this poll going here.
Why is it shipped so late?
That's the date.
Does
That's
it ship
round
late?
two.
Oh, is that
when
when the figure box is
Yeah,
coming out?
that's one of the round two, but yeah, that the collector's chest and the something else that day too. Oh, the ultra premium one or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that Pikachu figure. I'm so excited for that.
It's pretty sweet.
All right, let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, all right. I'll give it to Dan, and then I'll give it to Connor.
All right.
So this one was tough for me. Both of these are quite inflated prices. I actually just bought some of the Metazoo boxes at $50 a piece, so I got those at retail. The Pikachu boxes I get wholesale. I don't remember what that box goes for, but yeah, I was pretty 50-50 and just leaned to the Pokemon because I like the actual product more. I'm pretty excited for Celebrations. As far as if I did it for like pure investment long term, I would go back to the Metazoo. Just it's got a worse downside if things go poorly, but it's got a way higher upside if things go extremely well, I think. So like it was a collector's choice to say two. The investor speculator choice would be one for me.
Yeah, that's why I picked one. So I also got a handful of these boxes at retail. Pokemon it wasn't the best experience, but Pokemon could learn something from Topps' website, even though it was still rough. Anyway, yeah, I think that from a potential upside speccing standpoint, I think, picking up the first ever printed, Topps crossover on Metazoo has some upside where, you know, these premium figure collections, you know, you never know. 6 months down the road, you might be able to pick one of those up in the Walmart case or at your GameStop. You just don't know, right? But you know that these tops that they made, whatever, 50,000 boxes, something like that, and there's not going to be any more. So, and I think a lot of it's going to get opened. It is crazy to pay $130 for one pack, but I do think that upside potential there is pretty high, and if nothing else, it becomes a cool oddity to have on your desk for $130. So plus tops is, you know, there's something kind of iconic about this era and tops and what's happening with that company. So I like a lot of the mechanics there for the spec.
Any thoughts, guys? That Metazoo drop was the funnest. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Edison.
I was just gonna. It feels a little weird every time we talk about Metazoo. It's always with the caveat like there's more upside, or it's just about the value later on, and then that makes you kind of think that like, are people actually even opening this stuff up? If all of like, I feel like all of us kind of agree that there's a lot of upside with Metazoo in the future, but we would keep it sealed. I don't think a lot of us have the intention of opening this stuff and like playing the game. And I mean, it's not like you're playing with the tops cards. Like these are strictly just for collecting. And I really think there's a lot more downside to tops than the playable format for it. And I mean, your Metazoo box might look good on your desk, but a Pikachu VMAX statue would probably look even cooler on display. Just a thought.
Yeah.
I just think we're gonna see more of those Pikachu figure boxes at some point. Where I don't think we're gonna see any more of the tops Metazoo. I think they printed what they were gonna print. People bought what they were gonna bought, and that's basically it. So now everything else is gonna be on the secondary market. Where I don't know anything, but I think there's a good possibility we're gonna see a lot more celebrations.
Yeah, so I got a couple thoughts on this one. 70% chose the celebrations, 30% chose the Metazoo, and the Metazoo MSRP, just so everybody knows, I believe was like $45,
50.
Or was it
or
like 57?
Yeah.
Okay.
50, yeah.
Well, this Pikachu box crushes. I mean, the product crushes the Metazoo. I mean, especially if you got like kids, you get those full art Pikachus. You got the hugging Pikachu. Does this hugging Pikachu hurt the Japanese limited release promo? I think it was like 1 in 400 packs or something wild. It was the hugging Pikachu, and it's got that little stamp on the bottom right, I believe. I don't know if you guys... Edison, you got this one, right? You know what I'm talking about. Do you think it hurts that price? Because that one... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that one around the time that this set was announced in English, I think that one actually was peaking in value to the point where I think 9s were over $300 and 10s were over $600, and since then they've kind of settled down again. But yeah, I don't really think this is going to affect the price. I mean, there's a lot of Japanese cards that are just like that, like they get reprinted in English, and people. I mean, I don't know. If anything, the Japanese may end up making more money because they just buy the cards for single digits on TCG Player, and then they sell them in Japan as the alternative to the expensive Japanese version.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to affect the Japanese price.
Yeah, it's just that was such a limited Pikachu. It was a relatively limited Pikachu. I'm fairly certain that the Marnie is going to come down, just because how easy it is to get the English, and it was not as difficult. I mean, that Marnie came in a set release, as opposed to that Pikachu that was like super rare, part of the packs promos. But that'll just be interesting. I'll definitely be watching that. Let's see. Did I tell you guys what was it? Yeah, it was like 70% celebrations. So we will move on here. All right, we've got a $113 9.5 Kanazawa Pikachu. Or we've got a PSA 10 for $255. And I will say all the subgrades are 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and 10 on the Kanazawa. Let me post that. I got that ready to go. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, great. That's what I was going for.
Not the card, not the label.
I wasn't even trying. All right.
What did the poll say on that one?
Well, I just put it up.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully we didn't skew too much. It's about 64% CGC right now. I'd be curious. Everybody, go click one. I'd be curious. I really want to know because, yeah, I'll let you guys kind of discuss it.
I think it's like what Squeaks is saying in the chat here. You're saving over $100, and CGC 9.5 with those subgrades I would say has a really good shot at crossing over to a PSA 10 if you do want to cross it over. So you're essentially saving a good bit of money there just by going with the CGC copy. Plus, for me, like I said before, I really do like the CGC slabs. So for me, that one was a fairly obvious choice.
Yeah, this is an absolute no-brainer for me. I mean, I love CGC. I love what they're doing. I like the slabs. I like the way they look. I like the subgrades. The disc, I mean, it's like you said, Dan, buy the card, not the grade, right? And see these up close. I mean, effectively, these are probably going to be almost identical condition cards, right? They're gonna be pretty darn close. We can't see them perfectly, but this infatuation with PSA, I've never understood. Like, my background when I started with graded cards was sports, so I always started with Beckett, and then I've grown to like love CGC, and PSA has just kind of always been there, right? And I get that it's like the poster child and that it's like the most used, and I have plenty of PSA slabs and have graded with them, but I just like look at when you think about like the long term and your downside risk on this, right? Whether it's a collect or a spec or whatever, no matter the time horizon, you're protecting yourself from the downside for the same exact card. I mean, I saw this last night with a very similar situation on a CGC 9.5 Japanese Dark Gyarados, or Dark Charizard. Sorry, so for like $350, and the PSA 10s go for like $750. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, I don't understand what this hurdle is for people and why, you can't just objectively look at the cardboard instead of the plastic around it.
People like round numbers and people like perfection. I mean, 10 out of 10 is as good as it gets theoretically, right? So I understand why, like, I don't think the market will ever value them on par. But as someone who's graded north of, several thousand cards at PSA, a couple thousand cards at CGC, I'm extremely confident that card would cross to a PSA 10. So yeah, to me, Connor hit it. As far as investor, speculator, collector, whatever way I look at this, my answer is 1, because investor, speculator, you're getting the same card, lower risk. If the card were to fall, you're not going to be hurt as bad. If the card were to do well, 2-3 years from now, you can always cross it over to PSA if the market doesn't really pick up on it. So from every angle, I would take the CGC 9.5.
I wonder.
And to close out on that.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention too. I think if you were to look at like the actual population reports of that card in a 10, just being a new Japanese promo, I think you're probably at like 80% are coming back 10, 20% coming back 9s. or maybe 19% coming back 9s and 1% coming back as like some random grade that was assigned to it, either through like a rare issue with the card. And that kind of goes into the downside. Like you're paying that much for a 10 when more than majority of the cards coming back for people's bulk submissions will be 10s. Like there's no way that price can hold long term.
I wouldn't think so.
The thing
go ahead.
The thing I'm most excited to see when the CGC pop counts do come out, pop reports, is on a launch Japanese promo such as this. I think it will be very telling when it's 80% PSA 10 and 20% PSA 9 to see where the bell curve kind of centers at CGC. I have my own.
What if it's opposite?
I think that a card like this, if CGC were to have a pop report, you'd see, I mean, I'm going to be completely guessing, but less than 10% CGC 10s. You're going to see less than half CGC 9.5s, and you're going to see quite a few CGC 9s. Like, I honestly am quite convinced that many CGC 9s with stronger subgrades would cross to PSA 10s. So when you have like a brand new launch and you can kind of overlay those pop reports and see where the bell curves line up, that's going to be one of the most like kind of demonstrating the difference between the two's grading standards.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm super excited to aggregate that data. Like, and I think they have told me, or when I've asked or when I've looked on boards, that should be by year end. But I know they're behind on some stuff at CGC, so I don't know. But that would be fantastic if it was by year end.
That'd be sweet. I can't wait for them to release the pop report.
Unless it slows down them starting to grade Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I'm all for let's just keep on waiting.
True. I'm still waiting for White Schwartz.
I want them to grade Metazoo.
It was supposed to be now.
I was going to say Metazoo.
What was it? I think it was 37% chose the PSA 10, which is interesting because then that means there is room to buy a 9.5 and regrade it with PSA later if the prices drop.
One thing I thought of when you guys were talking there was I wonder if we'll see a price increase of CGC cards once PSA kind of gets back to normal and reopens their bulk services, because right now you really can't buy the CGC copy with the intention of crossing over to PSA, because right now it's just not worthwhile. But I wonder if we will see like an uptick of CGC card pricing once PSA does reopen their bulk tier whenever that happens.
Yeah. I mean, if you had these two cards in hand and you sent one to CGC and you sent one to PSA, you're making about the same amount of profit, right? But at the same time, so there's that. And I think PSA prices eventually do come down. It could be a long time. I am not holding my breath. But yeah, there's definitely, because 37% still prefer, even though it's $140 more, still prefer a PSA 10. So that tells me that I need to look at CGC 9.5s a lot harder, because there's going to be that room to just.
That's kind of been my strategy all year.
Yeah.
To be honest, when it comes to the slab market.
Okay, the next
Sorry, I was just gonna say one more thing. It's kind of like a call option, right? It's like it gives you optionality, right? Kind of like Dan said, like you can cross it down the road if the experiment doesn't work, because the card is the card, right? So just think about that. You got to take that longer term view, I think.
Yeah. Examinator mint grading, it's got the little green mint right on it. I only own one of those cards. It's actually I own the first appearance of Magneto in mint. I thought they were fair in their grading. It's all about, do they grade consistently and are they tough, especially if they're new. If they're cheap, then yeah, maybe you can. If it's easy to get there, like ace grading out it's ace, right? On the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
That's going to have a market. The UK, I mean, like, look, the US is not shipping to Australia and the Netherlands. They'll have a market just because they have a corner. It'll be easy for people to send to them. But we'll move on here. All right, we have got a PSA 9 light Azumarill. Love the light and the dark in the Neo series. First edition, $165. Or we have got a Miles Morales PMG bronze for $165. And I believe this is the first appearance of Miles Morales in a PMG. And then just to give you guys an idea, this is out of $199, but really it's out of like 360 because there's reds out of 100, blues out of 50, greens out of 10. But let me post this poll. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, so I'm gonna
you would go with 2.
Swammey, I want you to go. I want you to educate us more on this card. Are there other? So there's the different color parallels or inserts or whatever. Are there? And you said it's the first appearance, but were there concurrent prints with different artworks, or is it like a standalone? Like how do these work?
So the PMG is a sports card insert originally, and they started doing them in Marvel in 2013, and they have blown up. They are a lot of them have gotten very expensive. I would not be surprised if the Miles Morales green was selling for 10 grand right now. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I would have gone with the Miles Morales personally, just because I would be specking on the future of Marvel, because one day they're gonna get away from Spider-Man and they're gonna go to Miles Morales, and he's gonna be like the Spider-Man kids know. And then the PMGs have kind of solidified themselves as the main insert currently for Marvel. It's just what's kind of taken off because a lot of sports guys are familiar with it. Light Azumarill, it's a first edition. It's a PSA 9. It's also low pop. I don't remember the pops off the top of my head. But for me, Miles Morales is going to be big time. It's going to be big boy, heading, going to the movie theater. You'll be going to the movie theater to watch a Miles Morales movie one day, and you won't be doing that for light Azumarill. It is not. I don't own any bronzes. I don't own any reds. I think I own only blues, greens, purples, and gold. But this could be one of those cards where it has a nice bump just because the reds, blues, greens, and gold you can't get your hands on them. But yeah, you guys can go ahead with the light Azumarill. Go ahead.
I just don't know anything about Marvel, so I just went with what I knew. But PSA Mint 9 WotC Hollows for less than the price of a Neo Destiny booster pack. I would take that option all day. $165 does not sound like a bad price for a first edition Neo Destiny Hollow.
Yeah, I've seen the Japanese version of that card sell for almost that. So for that, then this is where I'm starting to see in the market, some opportunity with first edition WotC again, especially in 9s and especially in the later Neo sets into e-reader. But it's interesting because the graded pop of that card, similar. Swami, you said there's like 300 of those Miles Morales cards total across the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like about the same, which is interesting. Yeah, I too have been trying to educate myself more on Marvel, but wouldn't be confident enough to make that purchase at that price level on a raw card at this time for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, Nick hit everything I was gonna say. It's PSA 9 WotC Hollow, familiar for me. I don't know anything about Marvel. I guess one question on it: is there a 2018, 2019? Is this like a recurring limited card, or is this like the first one?
So there could be coming up a Miles Morales PMG, but with a different art. It'll be him in a different art. And the first appearance is what I like about this Miles Morales. So, for example, back in March, there was a $32,000 sale of a 2013 Spider-Man green PMG. So this is out of 10, and it's Spider-Man. It's the number one. That was the first appearance of Spider-Man on a PMG, and the green out of 10 sold for like $32,000. Well, the gold one of one, I believe it was 2015 Spider-Man PMG, actually sold for $30,000. So it sold less than the Spider-Man numbered out of 10. They're two different artworks, and I believe the numbered out of 10 went more because it was the first appearance on a PMG.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be the first appearance of Miles Morales on a PMG. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they'll definitely, like, they're coming out with it's a $400 box pre-order, but in December they're coming out with a Spider-Man metal box, and it'll have PMGs of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Black Suit Spider-Man. But just thought it'd be interesting to throw it in there. The poll
What's
was
hard
70.
for me is like, oh, go ahead. What was it?
The poll was 73% Azumarill. But go ahead.
As expected. I was gonna say, for me, I feel like there's Marvel characters I like more that are more popular too. So if I was going after, but I guess the same thing could be said for Azumarill. So, but I don't know. You put a lot into the Miles Morales, kind of theme or spec there, or like thesis. But are there other characters that have been selling for like more than this in a similar card, or that are even more popular right now? Just out of curiosity.
It all kind of depends on, like, this is a fairly high dollar amount for the bronze. But it's at the top end for a bronze. But the characters that sell well are Venom, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. So it varies by character, and then it varies by, is it a red, a blue, a green? So yeah, it's a total spec. I know a lot about Miles Morales. I think the world's gonna know a lot more about him before you pass away, right? Like, and when that happens, this would be the first. This is an attainable price. It gets pretty disgusting, I'm sure, if you go down to like the greens or the purples or anything. But I was just curious. We'll keep it moving. Any last thoughts?
Oh, I want to add something. Yeah. Just on the Miles Morales thing, like I am a pretty big comic book fan as well. I'm a big Marvel fan. And at that price, you can get a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4. You could just get his first appearance in comics. And I think if you want to spec on that character, in any regard, it's just better to have his actual first appearance in comics and the first time he's ever shown to the world. I think comics are a collectible that has been established a little bit more than trading cards for the most part, and I feel like that's just a safe bet at that price point, especially. You can get a low-grade copy of that, and I think maybe both are good options, but I really like the idea of just getting the original medium that he was represented in, and that's from 2011 too, so 6 years before he came out on a trading card.
And those are going to be less volatile too, right? So you're probably getting a good bang for your buck, from my understanding, and then maybe a little less.
Yeah, that's kind of my point too. It's more established. Like, there's not as much volatility, but I do agree. Like, that's cool. This is like the next generation Spider-Man.
He's gonna be huge. He's under Disney. He's gonna blow up. But Cool. I will keep it moving here. And I liked that bit you added about the comic book. So the first one is a 1998 Bandai Vending Series 4 Ashes Pokemon. And you got the whole squad. You got Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu with Ash in the background. Or we got the Shiny Magikarp is back at a PSA 10. I will add, before I get your answers here, this in July on Pokemon price, the average price of a PSA 10 card dropped down to $168. So I was shooting for around that price range, because if you take the total dollar amount divided by the total amount of sales of PSA 10s, we've dropped down from $400 and some average price in November, December, down to $168. So I wanted to hit that price range. But I will post the poll here. Basics on the Bandai. But let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. So 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay. I want to go Dan and Old School.
Oh, we're duking it out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think if it's like in terms of artwork, this was another kind of tough one, because I do like the number one. I like the artwork a lot better for number one, but I picked number two mainly because I think there's a lot more of those vending cards than people think. The vending cards, they were never really that popular. They kind of just gained their exploded in popularity. So I think the pop reports on those cards are really, really low, and I think they're going to just continue to grow over the years. So I can't see paying $170 for that card. Just knowing, like, there's a lot of those loose cards out there that haven't been graded. So that's the main reason why I went with that. Plus, it's like one of those non-TCG cards. I've never really been a fan of those. I like the actual TCG cards a lot better.
For me, it was just a matter of likely mass printed vintage versus mass printed modern. I like both the cards. I like both the arts. I have the Magikarp in my binder somewhere. These early Japanese non-TCG, there's something that's been on my list to like research further into for years now, and I still haven't done it. So I kind of just picked that because it's something that I want to start looking into more. And it's just kind of different, I guess.
You guys got anything to add?
Yeah, I can go. So I think, and I know this isn't really the point of it, but I think both of these cards were overpaid for. I still choose number one because I am a big personal fan of the vending cards. And if I was forced, to spend this dollar amount on one of these, I would pick the vintage card. I'd like to see the back to know if it has the made in Japan at the bottom, because PSA has been known to grade these that weren't actually made in Japan. They were like kind of ancillary or proxies that might have been made in Hong Kong or China at the same time through a different distributor. There's a lot of weird stuff around that. But assuming it's genuine and it is a 10, totally agree with Dan. 2 very high pop, vintage versus modern. I think that some of the catalysts going for these vending cards that display the anime are, if Netflix comes out and does this live action anime and it gives a nod back to Gen 1 and some of it's the same reason I really like the gym cards still, because I think that, some of those characters that are potentially going to get rebooted or, a little extra love from different mediums throughout the hobby are going to be, potential catalysts for these. And, I think you just can't go wrong with that group of characters on one single card. Like that's a fantastic display piece for any for any collector. And the back's pretty cool as well.
Edison, did you have anything?
Nick. Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Nick. Just I feel like there's a lot more vending out there, and I think a lot of the price action on vending graded just had to do with the fact that there were so few copies graded and kind of got artificially pushed up. But if people actually start submitting, I think that stuff has a really like low bottom to go down to. And like Nick said, I just prefer the TCG stuff. And I mean, I like that artwork. I think Magikarp looks really funny on it. Just he's like flailing around. The fact that he's shiny, it just seems like a safer bet to go with that, if anything.
Yeah, I think there are bricks of this stuff in Japan. To again, I definitely think like that is an overpayment for that card for sure. And those got way overhyped for sure. So I have my experience from buying straight from Japan and seeing what's been out there is that there's a lot of that and high quality left out there. I mean, there could be whole, like never put in vending machines, never put in the coin machines, the card ass machines, cards out there still, however they produced them and sealed them. Right. So we just don't know. So I totally agree with that. Still love it.
Yeah, Cardos holds up pretty well. I mean, in the packaging, thicker stock. I really like Cardos, but for me, gosh, these would have to take off. The only thing I don't like is just the sideways photo. But yeah, you can't beat that. You cannot beat that squad all in one photo. I mean, come on. The shiny Magikarp, it's got the original Shining Magikarp going for it. It's got the future Shining Magikarps. It's a Magikarp. I don't lean either way too much, but I would probably go with the Bandai. Just because I love that. And 56% chose the squad. 43% chose the Shiny Magikarp. So the audience is kind of burnt 50-50 too. Well, we'll keep it moving. The next one we got is a PSA 9 Light Jolteon or a PSA 10 Espeon GX, Shiny Espeon. First edition Light Jolteon non-hollow 9 or a Hidden Fates 10 Shiny Espeon. I'll put this poll up in the audience, and thanks everybody for watching. If you could like the video, I'd appreciate it. Got 40 people watching. So can I get your answers in 3, 2, 1? 2, 1, 2, 1. That's what I like to see right there.
Let's
All right,
go.
so we're going to start with Edison, and then we could go with let's see here, Old School. You had 2, right?
Yeah,
2, 1, 2, 1. Okay. Yeah. So Edison, why don't you start on the Jolteon?
We kind of mentioned it for what card was it? Was it Light Azumarill? The Azumarill card. It just the fact that the card itself, like technically, is this a rare from this set?
It's an uncommon.
It's uncommon. Well, I mean, the cost of a pack is still more than the value of that card, or the cost of that card. And I mean, I would say this is probably just one of the more iconic of the Neo arts. I mean, this card is getting reprinted, right, in Generations, Celebrations, with the stamp.
I wish.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No.
I thought this card was getting reprinted too, but it just.
I wish.
I don't know. I see it as. I really wish to. I think I might saw it as like they were using it as a reference photo or something, for the set. But it was just, I don't know. It's for less than the price of a pack to get such a nice artwork of Jolteon and Togetic. I don't know. It's fair, but maybe a 9 and an uncommon is a little bit more common than. I can't really speak. I don't know. Just like a gut feeling that I appreciate this card's artwork a lot more. But I do like it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite light Jolteon. They do have someone made a full art of this same artwork. They just expanded the border of the card years ago. So that might have been what you saw, because it's a perfect example if you took that card and got the Starry Night in the background, and I love that card. But yeah, Nick and Dan had Espeon. You guys can go on Espeon.
So I really do like Light Jolteon is an awesome artwork. I really do like that card a lot. But for me, I think there's there's a lot more room for the pop to grow. Both of them can really have high pops, but for me the first edition Neo Destiny Uncommon, I think there's a lot more of those that can be graded out there. Plus, with the Hidden Fates, it's a PSA 10 from Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates, I think, is going to be an absolutely massive set in the future. It was such a fun set to open, and I think Hidden Fates brought a lot of people back into Pokemon. And looking at it in the long term, I think a lot of people are going to go back to Hidden Fates. In the long term, just because of how good of a set it actually was.
Yeah, PSA 9 non-hollows I do not like. They just printed so many of those. I do like the artwork a lot, but I mean they did print so much Hidden Fates as well. But it's the 10, it's an Espeon, and Hidden Fates is 20 years from now, Hidden Fates won't be one of those like mid-era sets that fade away to nothing. It'll be nostalgic for me. I really enjoyed Hidden Fates a lot. It was something really new and exciting, the whole Shiny Vault thing. So I think Hidden Fates will stand out over time, and both the pops are going to be massive though. I mean, you're looking at really high pops on both.
Yeah, I guess you have to think about pops relative to print run too, right? Because there's like 20 times as many PSA 10 Espeons as there are 10s of the Jolteon or 9s, right? And it's like 10x total pop, right? So but compared to the print run and how that plays out over time. But look, I think there's so much Hidden Fates still to be printed. I think both, to your point, will end up being fairly high pop. But for me as a collector, like that artwork for Light Jolteon is literally, in my opinion, one of the best in all of vintage, like in all of WotC. To me, I think it's amazing. It's a card I probably wouldn't pay $170 for right now, but if I had to choose between these two, I think yeah, there's probably a lot that even could come out of binders like that and grab a 9 potentially, but it's a fairly iconic card. You get 3 Pokemon in one, right? And I don't know. I don't like the outlook for the populations on a relative basis for Hidden Fates, no matter how iconic the set was. I think it's going to be nuts. And pops aren't everything, but yeah, that's my take.
So pops aren't everything. It was 50-50 pretty much. It's 44% shiny Espeon, 54% Light Jolteon. And Light Jolteon, I'm right there with you, Connor. This is my favorite artwork. I loved the light and the dark. They gave them so much personality. I know it's not a shiny, and I do wish it was a 10. But for first edition, there's only 67 10s and there's 66 9s. And I know there's thousands PSA 10 Hidden Fates Charizards, right? And so if the PSA 10 on this Espeon kept going up, there's thousands left to be graded. But it's a shiny, full art Espeon. So the demand is going to be just as strong, I feel like. So I don't even think, it's very tight. But yeah, I don't have to say an answer. I'm the host. So
get
we'll
to
just
buy
keep
both.
we'll just keep moving on here. We'll just keep moving on. All right,
Love that
we have
artwork.
got a $200 Pokemon lot. So it's a Sword and Shield Ultra Premium Blastoise collection, the Johto collection. There's some Evolutions packs in there, and then there's that there's like the Sword and Shield Gold box. I think that's what that is.
Like the premium ETB thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or it's the PSA 10 Pokemon Center Lady from the Infinity Zone booster box. This one is a shout out to SGR the 7th if you're watching. This one's for you, bud. So I'm putting up the poll right now. And can I get your answers in 3, 2, 1? 1-1. All ones. Probably a good decision. All right. Let's go to. Yeah. Actually, just leave it open. What do you got? I mean, is it just
Team sealed.
sealed resellability?
Yeah. Team sealed.
I'm surprised nobody went for the waifu number 69.
Right?
Oh,
I didn't
Right?
even notice that.
oh. Can I change my answer? Oh man. Oh.
Where's my
That's funny.
69 speed limit sign here?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I went to go post this one actually live, it makes a lot more sense. I would actually want a Pokemon Center Lady card though, in a PSA 10 for myself. You know, I
It's
look
like
at that.
iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at the sealed and I'm like, Rudy's bathroom, like worth so much more XYZ years later. But with the Pokemon Center Lady, like I actually would love that card. That'd be awesome. I don't own one, so
If you want it in a CGC 9.5, aislecollectibles.com is well stocked.
Ooh.
there it is.
Ooh.
I like it. But since we're devolving into the pumps here,
I like the shameless plug.
shameless plugs. Yeah, so 84% picked the box slot. But go ahead, Edison.
I just wanted to say, like, just knowing the price history of that Pokemon Center Lady, like, the fact that it floated in low double digits, like, less than a $20 card for months after release, and then there was this whole spike in waifu cards. It doesn't sit well with me to spec on that, because I feel like the value of that's kind of been realized. And I mean, sealed stuff, I think at the end of the day has a price floor. In the current market, it's for some stuff it's over, but at the very minimum, you can get retail all day for stuff like that. And it just seems like a better buy to diversify, get multiple things too.
Yeah. It didn't. As soon as I was going to post it, it was like, oh, this is pretty obvious. But just
I will say,
yeah.
go ahead.
Go
Tom.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, it doesn't change my answer. Just kind of more broadly speaking, I am very interested in how the whole full art waifu thing plays out over the long term. It's just kind of a fascinating phenomenon to me. I still think it's way too much for a card like that, but I think if you look like, 10 years from now and you look at some of like the staying power of current modern cards, like some of these full art female trainers, which is just kind of like creepy when you think about it, are going to have a lot of staying power, for better or for worse.
It's going to have staying power. I'm not asking for 12-year-old chick that, go. I like these working women. Okay, that way I know they're women. Like, can we get Officer Jenny?
Is motivated. She has a career. She has goals.
She's graduated.
School.
I'm waiting for Officer Jenny. All right, like Officer Jenny. Where
Officer
is our
Jenny
full art
holding a
Officer
Rowlet
Jenny?
Puppy, come on. Oh.
Yeah, so 84% they passed the waifu and they went for the sealed product. So we'll keep it moving. Got 2 more waifus here. We've got a Lily full art, or raw, or a Weiss Schwartz signature Elizabeth card from the 7 Deadly Sins. So let me get this going in the chat. Yeah, we need Officer Jenny, but that card is going to pop. Like if you thought Marnie would pop, Officer Jenny's going to pop. So let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, like? Connor. Wow. Connor with the bias here. We'll start with Connor, and then we'll go to Dan.
Yeah. So I think these SPs from Weiss Schwartz and Swammey, we've talked about this before. They've proven in all environments to do really well over time. I think if that card's in mint condition, that's a great buy, especially when either lower service levels at Beckett or come available, or at PSA, or hopefully CGC starts grading these by the end of October. I think that I don't think anime is just having a moment. I think it's becoming a super ingrained part of culture for people of all ages, but especially from kind of like 15 to 35. I think that 7 Deadly Sins has been, because it was a Netflix original and was so accessible to so many people. I think that this is going to have a ton of staying power. I think that, when you look at the pull rates on SPs, they're super difficult, like super, super difficult. This again plays into that, kind of waifu craze, but even to that next level, because it's like not Pokemon, it's anime that can be a little more edgy. That picture does not do this card justice at all. Like, it is absolutely stunning in person. Like the Lily card is too, but look, I think when you look at, other TCGs out there outside of Pokemon, Weiss Schwartz is something that's proven to have a large player base and a large collector base. How like populations or just prints of these will wash out, I think will be extremely low. I think that a year from now, 18 months from now, you're going to look at that price and you're going to wish you had bought that. And that's hands
if you're
down
interested
my thought.
in 7 Deadly.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll add is,
or even as a spec, I think, on a relative basis for me.
Yeah. A lot of the signature cards, even before 2020, were going for like $800 raw. If you give it enough time of the Weiss Schwartz sets and the signature cards, the ones that are really, and they make them extremely difficult to pull. Yeah. In fact, when I saw that, I actually personally had wished I picked that up for $225, but because it costs you way more to open it up. You guys have anything?
Like I know the trial deck ones are like less than 3% pull rates. I mean, these ones are probably like somewhere in that 6 to 8% of the print tops, maybe less.
So I've always thought about it like per case, and then you split up, because it's like practically
it depends
one.
how many SPs there are, right?
Yeah, and then you got to split it up by all the other signatures. But did you guys have anything else to add?
For me, it was just I know nothing about Weiss Schwartz. Lily is familiar. Pokemon is familiar. I'm not a buyer of either of these at these prices, but I would just go with Lily for familiarity.
I'm the same way. I got to start branching out into some of these other cards, because I know nothing about much outside of Pokemon.
Same here.
I mean, go to TCG Player and look up signature cards from, like, you know, you can look up Batman.
SAO.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of animes out there with these signature cards from Weiss, and I would not buy a signature card for $1,000, but I'm pretty confident in the 225 personally. But yeah, the audience was 70% Lily. Yep. So we will keep it going here. All right. So we've got the 2015 Mewtwo EX PSA 10, or we've got this PSA 9 Cardass Charizard, and it's, you know, Charmander facing off against Charizard. I will put this up in a poll. So we got you reading some of these comments?
You laughing at Z?
All right, can I get your answers in 3, 2, 1? 2, 2, 2, 2. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's go with Edison, and then we'll open it up.
I don't know. I know absolutely nothing about this Charizard. There's so many different Cardass series. Like, I just don't know where any of the cards come from or how they were distributed. But I really dislike that Mewtwo art. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The proportions of the characters they chose for it, it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't look great, and I don't know. It's one of those things where Charizard always will have his fans, and we were talking about, like, anime cards. Like, this is pulled from the anime, right? You just
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prism.
Yeah, Charizard and Charmander are on the same card. I just think you can't go wrong with that. And I don't know. It says Prism on it, which maybe that's a. Oh, did it say that? Oh, it says Prism on the label. Yeah, maybe that's a positive.
Yeah, because it's got this, like, you can see it in this one. It's got, like, that hollow background.
It just seemed like a stronger card, but this is definitely just I don't know much about it, so I can't speak too much on this card. So value.
Yeah, it's Charizard.
Exactly. And the Prism cards are actually harder to grade because it's almost like a sticker, where like you can almost, like, the card stock and the actual image can be, like, off-centered from each other. And then, like, the edges they can, like, fray a little bit on the Prism cards. So the Prism cards are actually pretty tough to grade, from my limited experience. Where the non-holo cards, like we saw earlier, those ones are fairly easy to grade. So I would definitely choose the Charizard. Plus it's a Charizard. Everyone likes Charizard, and like Edison was saying, the artwork on the Mewtwo, I'm really not a big fan of that either.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that the first edition of that Mewtwo card is actually less rare than the non-first edition, if there is a non-first edition in that set. I don't know specifically, but that's usually how it goes for those. They're either, like, equivalent or the same. So you kind of get that, like, false positive sometimes on first ed, which, may lead to people overpaying for that first ed stamp. I'm, again, huge fan of the Cardass cards. I do think someone overpaid for this, but it is Charizard. It is a Prism, which you're absolutely right, are more difficult to grade. I think that I don't know. I think that those will always be niche, but I think education still has to come into the marketplace around, in the hobby, around the Bandai cards. I really do. And I think people are going to be looking for ways to access vintage Charizards in a way that isn't first ed base and unobtainable at most levels. So If you think about it, like from a early appearance standpoint, it's a pretty iconic card, right? So ties a lot of nostalgia. I like what they did with like the border and the insert, that they like match the colors of Charizard and Charmander. Like, it's just really well done. So
Cool. 63% chose the Mewtwo.
wow.
And I'd be interested if anybody wanted to say, for me, this is a tough one. PSA 10 versus PSA 9. It is the EX full art. It's a popular Pokemon too. It's not Charizard. Bondi, there's so much. I don't know enough. Like Dan was talking about earlier, how he wanted to research more on the print runs of these things. A PSA 9 of a 1999 card is pretty sweet. It's Charizard with Charmander on it. And Squeaks had said this is the one where Charmander puffs up his chest, and I remember that. Now I actually really want this card. So, yeah, it is tough, but I wonder if anyone has, like, just is it the PSA 10 or what? But we'll move on here. I got the next poll ready to go. We have got 3 ETBs or a PSA 9 new cert Gyarados Unlimited. And I will post that to the chat. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. Wow. Was it the $75 shipping to the Netherlands or what?
No, it was the price for unlimited.
That person got a good deal on the ETBs. I've been selling Cosmic Eclipse ones recently for, low mid 2s by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vivid Voltage is around 100 last I knew. So for
you
me,
sold Cosmic Eclipse ETBs for $200?
Yeah, I believe they're going for over 200.
Holy crap. Wow.
And I bought a CGC9 Shadowless Gyarados today for almost the same price as this. So
Wow.
that's why
No way. Nice.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that an auction?
No, it was a offer.
Wow.
It was listed
Nice,
at
man.
$350, and I got it for like $250 or $240.
I picked that over the ATBs.
I would
Yeah,
too.
yeah, all day for Shadowless. Yeah, that Cosmic like I picked the ETBs largely because like just the display ability is super cool too. That Cosmic Eclipse artwork's awesome. And it's just sealed. Look, I love graded cards. I love grading cards. I love everything about it. But there's something about sealed in this hobby for so many reasons that I just find so much more attractive and cool, especially rather than an unlimited WotC card, which I personally like. I don't touch unlimited anything unless it's Japanese. That's more rare.
And especially the theme deck ones.
Yeah.
Where Gyarados came from the Blackout deck.
I
think.
got it down there. It's the Overgrowth.
Overgrowth.
Blackout.
That's right, yeah.
Overgrowth. Yeah.
Yeah, PSA 9 unlimited base. Ugh. Not better than the non-hollows, but a theme deck hollow is the it is Gyarados, which is nice, but
My favorite Pokemon of all time.
Gyarados is?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge Gary guy.
I mean, do you like Melodic? Milotic? I mean, I love the whole Magikarp and the Gyarados. For me, it was all about the game. Magikarp, you had to train, you had to let it sit out there and swap them out. And then the other Pokemon, I played Blue, so I couldn't get Scyther. You had to trade for Gengar, Alakazam, Machamp. So, like, my favorite Pokemon were the ones you couldn't get, or I had to, like, trade for. But, yeah, Gyarados is a biggie. 67% chose the ETBs. So, still 33% want a Gyarados, and it goes back to popularity and demand, too. For me, it's pretty tough on the. I can't. When Dan said he sold the ETB, I like the next one that we got coming up. But Cosmic Eclipse ETB for $200, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, let me go to the next one. So we have got the Boner Star Wars PSA 9 mint. This is a 1977, and I believe this is an error card where this card was released with a hard-on, literally. And then we have got an Evolutions booster box. So let me get this C3PO and Evolutions up in the chat. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2. Love it. Love it. All right, so who did we go with last time? Because it was Nick and Dan together and Connor and Edison together. So just flip it. Whoever talked first. I can't remember. Let's go with Edison and Dan.
This is something like a lack of information. I know nothing about that Star Wars Topps card. Absolutely nothing at all. And
I'll look up a pop report real quick.
You don't even need to. It's just such a funny card.
But is it $700? Like, is it worth $700 for a funny card? Right. I guess it's like a band card almost, like a Star Wars band card. You can look at it that way.
Exactly.
Probably means it's overrated.
It is like lower grades go for a lot less, but let me see here because I don't know the pop on this. Let's go.
I just went with that one.
Okay, so there's 5 10s. There's 5 10s and there's 47 9s. And then of the non-error, no hard-on, I don't know how that got released, but there's 12 10s and 76 9s. I mean, that's incredible. Like,
it's so blatantly obvious too.
A week later, one of these 9s sold for $400. Oh, you gotta love this hobby. Oh, it's amazing.
Any other thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I know nothing about the top card, but I know a lot about the bottom box. So I just picked the top card. I'm not even into Star Wars. I've watched a couple of the movies, but not even all of them.
What?
But I still pick the top card. Evolutions I still don't understand fully. I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, that was my reason for choosing number 1.
I actually do know the 77 Star Wars cards and like the 81. I actually really like those cards. I think it's because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So that's like one of the other like cards that I actually know outside of Pokemon. And the C3PO card, that like error card is just so funny to me. Plus, I actually like C3PO. He's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. And where there's like what Dan was saying, where there's so many of those evolution boxes, for me personally, I would just go with the C3PO.
Yeah, I would go with the C3PO too. Just because it's like I'm not buying Evolutions at $730, but that's just a personal thing.
Yeah, I really just want neither of them.
Yeah,
but I had to choose one. Evo breaks my brain, honestly.
Yeah,
It just breaks my brain.
I'm not even like
$800 or break it or do whatever, like team sealed, whatever. But yeah,
so it's like it's holding steady at 730, 700 to 730. I don't know. I don't know if I trust it. I think it could actually come down. I think this Star Wars car could come down too. I just saw some people talking about it the other day, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll swap that in there. 65% chose the C3PO.
I do not understand. Like, I chose Evo just because I know nothing about the first one, but I just still don't understand. What is it about the boxes that makes people want to pay this price? Like, is it? I know they're holding steady at this price, but it still feels like hot potato. I don't understand, like, what this game people are playing with the Evo boxes are, when I can go to Walmart and buy this tin for $8 and get an Evo pack in it. Like,
Evo packs are coming out, and you can pick up some Evo pack stuff right now.
They print it into the ground. I mean, like, they're probably still freaking printing it. Who knows?
I think it's because it's like a 45% pull rate on the Charizard, and maybe people want to. I don't think people $730 to pull a Charizard. That premium doesn't make any sense to me, because you're about to be able to pull a Charizard for much cheaper with celebrations. And maybe it's just the fact that you
paid
can
$8
pull
for a tin and pulled this.
You've got to let Edison back in.
All these people paying $700. Oh yeah, what happened?
There he is.
There.
Cool, we got him back. We've actually got Charizards on the docket.
Oh.
So
I'd rather pay 2 times that for CP6 than freaking buy Evo for $730.
CP6 is like over $2,000 now.
Over 2. I know. I'd pay twice that, I'm saying.
I would pay 2
but
times the price.
It's about 3 times that.
Yeah, I would pay half the price of CP6 too if I could.
That freaking yeah. Well. Oh man.
So now we got Charizards coming up. There's 4 slides, 4 Charizards. It's easy to kind of use Charizard when we're looking at other IPs. But next up, we have got King Spawn, 1 in 250 variant. It's a CGC 9.8. And just so you're aware, there's about 1,700 of these, just straight up, not graded, just straight up. Todd came out with 1,700 or something like that, and he signed all of them, and that's going for $1,125. Or a Hidden Fates PSA 10 Charizard. So let me get this poll up. Gosh, what is the Hidden Fates pop on that?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I haven't checked.
It's
like
thousands.
I have a. It's like one of my.
A couple thousand. It's one of the ones I pull down every month.
3,000.
I'm searching it right now.
There's 3,200 PSA 10s, and there's 2,100 PSA 9s.
So far.
Yeah, so far 3,200 PSA 10s. Wow.
Might be the same amount at CGC.
And then there was 1,600 or 1,700 just flat out, just straight up. He came out with like 1,700 of the King Spawn.
Why does it say 1 in 250? Is that false? Or what does that mean?
That's like comic stores have to order 250 of the non-variant to get the variant.
Gotcha.
And that's, I mean, how many comic book stores are buying, 1,000 of the original to get 4 of the variant.
Wow.
But typically the variants do sell for higher, which is why it kind of helps the comic. It's kind of like staff for a card shop that's putting on a Pokemon competition. They can get a staff card. It kind of like compensates a little bit. But let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 2, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So we'll go with Nick and Edison. We'll start with Nick because he's the only one who picked the Charizard.
I just gotta go with it. I've never gotten into comic books myself personally, so this one was more so just a personal choice. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of comic books for whatever reason, and Hidden Fates, like I said before, such a good set. I think a lot of people will be going back to that set in the long term. And PSA 10 Charizard, it does have a massive pop report. But I would have to go with that one. Plus the bid history, it seems like there's more interest in the Charizard over the comic book. 14 bids versus 2 bids.
A little bit of that is just because there's a lot of buy it nows at $11.50.
Okay.
Right. But Edison, you want to go?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it just with the population report on this Charizard. It's a pretty common card, and it is an iconic card from Hidden Fates. But I just think there's so many of this card going around, and I mean, there's so many that are probably still at grading that people threw in their bulk subs or economy subs over the past year, and I don't know. I'm not particularly fond of Spawn in general, or especially King Spawn, but I think there is that revival. And I mean, Spawn was big in the 90s. I think a lot of people who grew up in the 90s, grew up around Spawn, can kind of go back and they have income to pick up these comics. And I don't know. It's really just the fact that I think that Charizard there's too many of them to justify those prices.
Yeah, and for me, that's one of going to be many shiny Charizards coming out over the years, I'm sure. For me, I was really torn. I'm not a comic book guy. I'm not a signed guy, but just kind of more negativity on the Charizard long term than anything.
Connor?
Yeah, 100%. I'll wait
Yeah.
3 years and buy that Charizard for 1/10 of that.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the light Jolteon. That's what made it really tough for me with the light Jolteon and the shiny Espeon. It's like, yeah, it is shiny Espeon, and both of those pops could keep going, up in the air. So, but the Charizard is the reason why I know the shiny Espeon could do something similar. At least have that backdrop. For me, I would go with Spawn too. It's cool, Nick, that you stick to what you like.
Oh, absolutely.
I personally love Spawn. I happened to go to school with Todd McFarlane's daughter, and he's got a sick house. I mean, he's a cool dude. I love Todd's story. The King Spawn. I mean, how dope is this artwork right here? It's just bad. I mean, it's just awesome. But thought it'd be interesting. Let's see what the audience said. 64% went with Spawn.
I like stuff with signatures on it, honestly, too. I don't know, especially in like the comic book world. I think that's cool. The same reason I like Pokemon cards with the illustrator signature on it. There's something neat about that, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's see what else we got next here. Okay. Sorry, Nick, but next up we've got the base set unlimited 9 Charizard or Amazing Fantasy 15. This is just a page out of the book for $1,200.
Just one single page?
One single page. So Amazing Fantasy 15 is the first appearance of Spider-Man. And that book, I think a CGC 1.5 sold for like $28,000. Like this book in high grade, not doctored, is like insane. I think it's like a $2 million book or something. Yeah. So that's kind of what happened.
9.6 sold for was gonna say the 9.6 that just sold like 2 weeks ago broke the record for $3.5 million, the most expensive comic book ever.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it beat
3
out
point-
Action Comics one for Superman. 3.56 million on Heritage. I think that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, that kind of may have spoiled my answer.
Yeah, I think you convinced me there.
Oh, well, great. Let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 2, 2, 2. God dang it, Edison. You're killing me here. You're killing me. No, I'm just kidding. I actually was kind of pushing towards the AF-15. Yeah, we'll let Edison jump it off, and then we'll go to Connor. And if you know any more, because I didn't know about that big sale, that 3.56 million.
If it's hard too, just because Spider-Man is a relatively newer character, like from the 60s compared to the 30s for Superman and Batman. But I mean, if you want a page from the first Superman story or the first Batman story, it's like a $5,000-$6,000 page at this point. So just using it as a frame of reference, I mean, this is an iconic shot of Spider-Man too, with the spotlight on him for the first time when I think this is maybe like one of the first times he puts on the costume and becomes Spider-Man. Like, it makes sense to me. I mean, it would be like the same thing with Batman if you were able to get the page where he first puts on the costume and you first see that character in their full costume. I mean, the cultural value of that type of stuff, I don't think you can understate.
The first appearance page of the Joker is actually up for auction on eBay.
Ooh.
I think it ends next weekend. But yeah, Connor, you got anything?
You know, it's funny because this is something I've been thinking about recently in the collecting realm is the single pages versus the full comics graded. I think these have a lot of momentum behind them. I think people are going to start wanting shots like this even more so than, you know, the full comic graded, because there's something more to that artwork. You know, if you it's like, you know, the whole idea of, you know, buy one to, you know, keep and one to read, right? So people tie back to, you know, flipping through those pages and seeing this for the first time, or picking one up for the first time and getting to see this iconic page, like it as a display piece. Like, I think they're going to be super sought after. I mean, if that bid action is real and it's not just two people going back and forth and it was some, you know, I think that speaks to that a little bit. I'm not sure what could have happened there, but I think that these are going to gain a lot of popularity as single pages. Like, I think they're going to start to be pretty sought after across the board.
It's pretty displayable. If you think about it, it is just a page. Like Pokemon Flymaster was like, what the hell? Like, who is paying for a ripped up page of... But if you think about it, it's like, think of all the Spider-Man stuff we've had. Think all the Spider-Man stuff that will come out. You can't even touch $28,000 for a CGC 1.5. I mean, you can barely even touch the comic book itself. Being able to display a page, I think, is pretty cool. But yeah, I know it's it's the big guy. It's Charizard. Did anyone pick Charizard?
No, we didn't.
No, I think we all went number 2 this time.
That's like one of the lowest sales recently for a PSA 9 Charizard, though, probably, right?
That does seem like a low price. I sold one for $1,400 when we like a couple days before we did the first one of this. So yeah, especially back in July. That's how July.
Yeah.
That's a really good price.
Yeah, it seems like 1,200 was kind of the floor. But the audience chose 67% chose the Spider-Man first appearance.
Love that.
And about 33% chose the Charizard.
You have a smart audience.
I'm just intrigued at the prospect of people buying low-grade books, cracking them open, cutting them apart,
Ripping the pages out. Yep.
They're
grading
thinking
the
about it.
pages.
And so you gotta account for that when you're bidding on the pages, because you're like, you gotta start adding that up, and people are thinking about it. And the book itself is still going for a premium. This pages thing is actually relatively like it's new momentum from what I'm aware. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting one.
Did they actually grade the pages, or do they just call it a page?
Seems like it didn't have a grade.
They just call
I
it
don't
a
believe
page.
they grade the page. They just put
Yeah, I
the
don't
page
think they
on there.
grade them.
And so then that's
Fucking off.
when you know people are like, I've seen pages that are half ripped. Like, so this is the page, and it's like, it's not even like a nice clean, I'm going to cut this in half. It's like a quarter of it got burnt or something, and it sold for like $2,400. But anyway, let's get some Dragon Ball Super on our lives. We've got a Dragon Ball Super Son Goku PSA 10. If you guys know the pops on this, help me out. Or we have got a Charizard Legendary Collection PSA 9, both for about $3,800, $3,700. Let me get this up in the. Yeah, if anybody could help me out with the pops on this.
Finally, something we can agree on basic.
What did Basic say?
I can't say.
Oh,
He'll give
if
my
you
answer away.
NFT it.
No, legendary collection. All day.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me get your. Is anybody looking it up? Any PSA pops?
Yeah, on the
I'm trying to find the
Goku card.
pop. Yeah.
So I'll look up the.
What number is that?
It is number TB1-97.
That's all I was gonna say. There are 341 tens out of 534.
341 tens. And was this the card that like a black label sold for like $90,000 last year or something? Do you guys remember that?
It looks like one I've seen in a black label that went for a lot of money. So yeah, probably. I don't know what it was, but
There's 76, so they have about similar pop. There's 76 PSA 10s of the Charizard, and then there's 325 PSA 9s of the Charizard. So they have a similar pop, but you guys know, you guys are pros. All right, let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1. 2222. All right. All right. Had to get some. It's tough. It's tough to try and get some of this IP in there. But Dan, let's go with Dan. I want to hear from Dan.
I don't know much about Dragon Ball. I'm not a big reverse holo guy though either. But Legendary Collection at least has something that like sets apart the reverse holos. So like I'm not a reverse holo guy, but EX era, the sets with the stamps on the reverse holos, and then the Legendary Collection Firework are the two that I can get most behind. And you've got Charizard, Legendary Collection, very hard to find product. And I just, again, know nothing about the Dragon Ball Super, so.
It's the top dog, pretty much. It is the. It's like the first edition Charizard. Like it's the card everybody wants. Personally, I would probably go with Son Goku myself. Rainy Day actually in the comments he said it. He said I'd rather own the best card of a lesser hobby than the 15th best card of a larger hobby. I'm that way too. This Charizard is sick. I am confident in the abilities of this Charizard, but I really like some of the upside of the Son Goku. There's just a lot more working against the Son Goku. How many are going to get graded? There's been a lot of motivation to grade these for a while. I think within a year we'll know, because a lot of the population that existed, a lot probably was sent in and we're just waiting on those to come back. This thing has been sitting at a fairly high dollar amount since middle of last year. And then, you know, I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Super trophy cards. I own some staff, some like winner cards. This is the top dog. This is like the Charizard, and I'd be curious to learn. I need to myself learn more about like trophy cards for Dragon Ball Super, and I don't know if anybody in the chat knows anything, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Do you guys have anything right now? The poll is sitting at 62% Legendary Charizard 9.
Just a quick question. Do you know why this card kind of got chosen as the most valuable? Like what? Like why is this the one that just
so
happens to be so expensive?
It is super hard to pull. It's like one in a. It's very hard to pull. Like I think it's like multiple cases in order to pull this secret rare. This came out 2018. I really don't want to say the pull rates on this guy. They're super low. And then it is Son Goku. It is like Ascension Goku, and it's just kind of taken on a theme of its own. Yeah, I wish I knew more. In fact, it's something that I'm going to put more effort in. I got a pretty good one coming up though. I'm really, and I know Rainy Day's watching too, so. Let's see. Yeah, we'll keep it moving. I'm trying to post it in the chat here.
Do you guys all just have webcams on your computer?
Yeah.
I just
Like
have a built-in. Yeah.
I'm doing this on my phone, and I'm definitely lagging behind you guys by like a second or two.
You got a small lag. It's not terrible. Just give you a second and you hear. But yeah, I just have like with the Logitech HD 1080 version, and it's.
I definitely need to get one.
Yeah,
you're getting
They're
fancy
super
over there,
cheap.
Tommy.
All right,
When
let's
someone
go.
put their hands up,
What's that?
I'm like delayed. When you're saying like 1, 2, 3 to put the hands up, it seems like I'm copying everyone's answer because I'm not hearing it.
That is totally how it's looked the whole time. Yeah. I noticed that.
All right. So we have got first edition PSA 9 LOB Blue Eyes White Dragon, or we have got first edition PSA 9 Charizard, first edition. Let me get this up in the chat. And let me get your answers in 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. All right, 2-1, 2-1. All right, so let's go with Connor and Dan. 2-1, 2-1. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, look, I just think Charizard's overrated. Like, I'm just going to say it. I do. In my opinion, as a lover of all things Pokemon, I think that it's just an overrated card. I think when you look at, Blue Eyes White Dragon is, I'm not even like a Yu-Gi-Oh guy, and I know that's an iconic card. Yeah, it could be overrated too, but I think it goes back to that comment about like, kind of like the top card in the hobby, right? And what kind of price point you're getting it at. I think like when I think about like relative value there, the Yu-Gi-Oh card might actually make more sense in the context of the hobby and the potential for it. Plus that looks like a weak 9. I bet you it's in week 9.
Yeah, for me, it I mean, base first Charizard. I think it
Do you
is
guys want pops? I'm
Pops
sorry
would
to
help.
interrupt.
Pops would help.
You
'Cause I
don't
have
you
no
don't want
idea.
population? I have them.
Yeah, they would help.
Okay, so Blue Eyes White Dragon First Edition LOB, 90 PSA 10s and 155 PSA 9s. And then the Charizard First Edition, 123 10s, 685 PSA 9s. So 685 and 123. So it's 685 for the PSA 9,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 155 for the PSA 9 for the LOB.
Yeah, so it's 4x roughly. I think Pokemon is no idea, but I think it's more than 4 times as popular. And I think this is just the iconic release of the iconic card for the hobby. Everyone wanted that Charizard on the playground 20 years ago. A lot of people want it now. I think that, yeah, as Connor mentioned, I'd want to see the card up close and see if it's a real 9. That goes for both of them. But yeah, I'm just not a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I mean, both these cards have been reprinted quite frequently. Knowing very little of Yu-Gi-Oh, but hearing a decent amount about it, it sounds like Blue Eyes White Dragon would have been reprinted many, many more times even than base Charizard. So that's a bit of a consideration for me, I guess.
To date.
To date, yeah.
How much Celebrations was printed? I don't know. Something. Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I've got on it though.
So I think Pokemon's more popular, but isn't Yu-Gi-Oh selling way more cards than Pokemon? Hasn't that been the case for multiple years now?
When I did the print run thing, I think Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon are kind of on par, both in the 30 billions, if I remember correctly.
Okay. I thought I remember hearing like Yu-Gi-Oh passed up even Magic a few years ago. This is really interesting for me.
Didn't Rainy Day and Zakio and those guys talk about that recently on one of the podcasts? I thought I'd heard that too. I don't know.
Don't remember.
I've been trying to educate myself on Yu-Gi-Oh too. They talk about it a lot.
So 77% chose the Charizard. Rainy Day has said Yu-Gi-Oh has sold the most total number of cards, but it's because their boosters are cheaper than the other hobbies. Oh, okay. Okay. So 23% chose LOB Blue Eyes. If that population stays firm on the Blue Eyes, I like the population relative, like when you start to get to these, tops of tops, we're not buying $9,000 LOB Blue Eyes. We're not paying 18 grand for first edition Charizard. But when you get a Steve Aoki that wants to fly in, I don't think $9,000 or $17,000 matters to him. If he wants the Blue Eyes, there's a quarter less of the pop. There's people that could care less about Pokemon and are all about Yu-Gi-Oh that are also going to be wealthy, very wealthy, and it's just like, I don't know. I know it's Charizard, but Blue Eyes is a big deal too. And when there's 155 of something, like I don't know how much it matters when you get to these price levels. I mean, the 10 is a completely different thing, and a lot of people could afford a LOB Blue Eyes and a PSA 9 Charizard. It's just there's going to be people. There's less than 250 LOB Blue Eyes, I believe, 10s and 9s, and there's going to be people that'll just be like, I'll pay 50 grand. I don't care. Just give me it. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. That might be like the next collectible cycle in 15 years or whatever, but thought it'd be an interesting one.
I think if it was four
shadowless
Charizards for 17,500, I might pick that instead of one first edition at that price point, right? Because that's probably what you could get. Probably four.
Yeah, it's around
just
there.
Shadowless ones at.
Yeah,
they're in like the $4,000 range.
I think I've talked to you about this in the past, Swammey. Just about we've briefly like talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the things that just turns me off to a lot of these like older cards is the fact that like the card is actually reprinted. Like the exact same card is just printed over and over again, and the art stays the same, the name stays the same, the attack description. But I mean, I'm not saying that really should affect the original run, but I feel like it kind of muddies the water with just how many there are out there that look exactly the same. But I mean, I think anyone could tell you what a first edition Charizard at this point is. Like, it just stands on its own. It's just an iconic thing.
Yeah. I think the Blue Eyes gets there. You know, you got Black Lotus, you got Charizard. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just a few years behind. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is ever going to be as big as Pokemon, but the Blue Eyes will be there one day. But all right, I want to thank everybody in the audience for tuning in. We have got one more here, so this is the last one. Thank you guys for coming on. Thanks to everybody in the audience. We'll go like 10 minutes after the game, but I am gonna cut it after about 10 minutes after this one. But let's see what you guys got for first edition Lugia PSA 10 or a Chevrolet Chevelle SS. And really, like, this is the only card I could find around the same price on eBay that's sold. But it's basically like, do you want a really nice car? Do you want a Tesla or something? Or do you want Lugia? And let me post this in the chat real quick. It was a super high number chose the Charizard. I think I said that. Yeah, 76 chose the Charizard. Let's get Lugia first edition. It does not have to be this car, by the way. All right, so I've asked the community, and let me get your pick in 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. Oh, he's quick. He's quick on it. All right, 2, 1, 2, 2. All right, Connor will get you on the 1.
You say 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, smart. All right, so Connor and then Edison, and then we'll let these guys kind of go.
Yeah, like my heart wants to pick the Chevy, but the problem with vintage cars like this is that you are continually sinking money into them. So that's the way I think about this comparison, is that I know I'm going to buy that Lugia and I'm not going to have to put any money into it. But if I buy that Chevy, I'm going to be sinking money into it every month or every couple months for the rest of eternity. But man, that's a beautiful car. And I'm not a big modern car guy, but I love vintage cars. I did some fractional investing in cars when Rally Road first came out. It was super exciting to me, but I don't even like Lugia that much, but I just don't have to put any more money into it. So
Basic Trainer says that Chevy pulls real waifus while the Lugia won't. All right, Edison, Dan, Nick, you guys got anything for the car?
I'm not a big car.
Like the actual. Oh, you go. I'm lagging. I can't tell. Like people are starting.
Go ahead, Edison. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when you're talking about that much money, like, compared to Lugia, I would prefer to get like an actual prize card, like an actual trophy card, if you are gonna drop that much. But if it is just that card, I really just think a car is. Well, it's also like if you could drop this much money on a card, do you even need to buy a car? You probably have enough cars to go around. Like, yeah, this is like astronomical. Like I can't even fathom spending this much money on an object. I'm not worthy, so to speak.
Can agree with that.
Squeaks
Kinda
dropping the
mind-boggling.
now Lugia down 17,000 from last month.
Yeah, Lugia is tanking. For me, it was I really like this car. I actually looked up quick how many were made. There were roughly 50,000 1970 Chevelles made, and this car looks to be in pretty good shape. I don't know what the attrition is on a 1970 Chevelle versus 2000 Lugia, but I'm really liking the print run of the Chevelle, and I'm liking the long-term prospects.
Hey, me too. Me too. It's my grandpa used to flip like boats and cars and stuff. He was a pro, just on eBay. He'd get good deals.
My dad's actually a mechanic too, so I can get the labor, the long-term cost done of it.
Connor's
cheating.
Like, this is cheating. What the hell?
Yeah.
Fine, then I'm sending mine to the PSA vault, saving on those taxes and shit.
Big thing too is, I mean, that card, I'm gonna have to have that in a vault somewhere. I'm not gonna be able to look at it and enjoy it. Antique car insurance is actually pretty reasonable, so I could drive that car for the summers. The insurance costs on it wouldn't be too bad, so I'm liking the utility too as well.
Well, Connor, 55% chose the Lugia. So there you go.
Hey. I just can't fathom either, honestly. But
that means 55% of the chat is fine losing $14,000 in a month.
Could you say that again?
That's the way I see it. If 55% chose Lugia, that means 55% are okay losing 14 grand in 1 month. That's how I see
17.
it.
17.
I wonder if that Chevelle ever
17,000
sold for $100,000.
So do you think it keeps
but it
dropping?
hasn't sold for 100,000 yet.
No, I'm saying wait, what's that?
Go ahead. You guys talk.
Oh, I was just saying I'm curious what the highest price a Chevy like that in like pristine condition has ever sold for.
Those Chevys are probably low population too. We could really pump them up if we all start making videos on Chevys. Get the followers involved.
Yeah, I got a 3-car garage at my mom's house, so we can store a few there. Start hoarding Chevys.
Do you guys think the Lugia keeps coming down? Total guess, if you had to guess.
Oh, I think that's such a lame card. In the context of the hobby, I just think it's a lame artwork, and I do think it keeps. Yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. Really?
Oh man,
I don't know, man. The wings and stuff are like, it's just weird. I don't like it.
That's all right. That's all right. You don't have to like it. I love it. I love the different energies on it. I love that whole card.
Would you pay that much for it? I'd rather get so many other cards than that one.
Let's say I had the money. I would be really nervous. I mean, 17,000. You know, if
Let's go with that. What would you do with 50 grand in the hobby right now? As a collector, just like if you had to buy a card to like put in your collection or a bunch of items, like what would you buy with 50 grand right now?
I would buy every single No Damage Ninetales on eBay.
We know that. Oh.
If we're just talking collections here.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did Dan, did you get Pikachu?
Yeah.
I think he was going to try. Okay. 50 grand. I'd try to sneak. I would look up whoever won the first Yu-Gi-Oh championship, and I would try to throw 50 grand at them to try and get those trophies. I don't know where they're at. I doubt I could get even one because there's 4. I doubt I could even get one for 50 grand. But then again, I haven't seen any sales. Those first trophies of the Yu-Gi-Oh are amazing. See if I can get that there. Yeah, thanks for playing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them, but they're really cool. Really cool.
Were they reprints of set cards? I thought that's what the trophies were.
These are super unique. Let me see if I can pull up my favorites real quick. The first ever trophy Yu-Gi-Oh cards are like the really cool, like before Yu-Gi-Oh became Yu-Gi-Oh really. So it was really kind of demented still. Some of the artworks. Gosh, I wish I could find them. I have them in one of my favorites, like one of my internet favorites, but it'll take me a little bit to find it. But yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. Did you guys wanted to talk about anything? I think it'd be pretty cool. You excited for that event next weekend?
I cannot wait.
Can't wait for Vegas. Yeah.
That's gonna
Is
be
it in
awesome,
Vegas?
Huh.
What was that?
Is it in Vegas?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we booked our hotels, staying right on the strip. It's gonna be a really fun time.
Yeah. So for
Sweet.
anyone
What event is it?
unfamiliar, next Saturday in Vegas, there's a charity box break. They're breaking a first edition base, shadowless base, and unlimited base booster box. I actually won 2 sets of the packs through Golden a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Shocked for the price those packs went for. I won each set for around 10,000. But yeah, I reached out to Nick. I'm like, hey, you want to go in halves on these? So we're each going to open our own set, but we're going to be sharing the spoils. And it's going to be awesome.
Oh, that's so sweet. It's gonna be so cool.
I can't.
It's gonna be wild.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dang, I need a link. The first cards are so sick. 1 million plus though for the first Blackluster
What year are they
Soldier.
from?
I believe it was like let's see here.
Kanan the Sword Mistress. Is it this card?
Just a quick question: is any
2003.
bigger going Collecticon or Legends Expo?
2003.
I'm going to Legends. I actually went to school in Richmond, so I love that town. So I was super stoked for that, and I was hoping Charlie was going to do something on the East Coast, preferably in the Northeast, but close enough. So how about you guys?
I won't be able to make Collecticon just because it's the weekend after Vegas, and then Legends. I keep going back and forth with myself. I'd love to make it just to hang out and see everyone, but I don't know if it's going to be possible just because I've been doing a lot of traveling lately.
I won't be making Collecticon or Legends. I didn't plan to go to any events this year, and then I won those packs for what half of what I thought they were going to go for. So it became an opportunity I couldn't turn down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's gonna be like. See, that's what I think the hobby's all about, like the relationships and the events and like all of these things. Like, it's so much more beyond like just like the stuff you get to like have, like the experiences around even like taking something to buy or sell or trade and all the things that go into that, like getting to like meet a lot of like you guys and other folks in real life. Like that's that's been some like the best parts as like things have exploded and people have come out of the, like myself coming out of the, coming out of the closet as real collectors, it's like, I don't know. It's been really,
cool.
really fun. Yeah. It's like, it's a sick community. And it makes it like so much more fun, building those relationships. So I'm excited for Legends. I'm excited to see, I want to see like Metazoo like in the flesh. Like I've had a couple cards, but whoa.
Yeah.
Like Inception.
Sorry, everybody. I was trying to pull this up and then trip you out there for a second.
That thing's sick.
Yeah. Thanks for sending me that. But
yeah.
I'm actually thinking about there was like there's a Red Eyes Black Dragon, and it was like Ultimate Blue Eyes. And there were two others, and I thought it was even before the 2003. So I just got to go back and do my research. I don't have it on hand, but you were talking about just being able to do this basically. We could talk the chat pretty easily. It's amazing. I didn't do anything with anyone, and I've said this before, I didn't do anything, talk to anybody really for like from 2014 all the way up until 2020. I thought E4 was a dead website, and that's nothing against E4. It's just I honestly a Google search would take me there, and I would be like, oh, this is like a super old forum. I'm not a forum guy. I just thought, yeah, it's super old, not like up to date, and had no idea there's a whole community out there of collectors. But yeah. So the question, I think I saw Zambinator bring this up before. Where do you think the staff cards will be going in the next years to come? Will they be treated like first editions? I mean, staff is, I think you guys would all agree, it's like not everybody likes staff, but it is a way to kind of reduce the population on a modern card. That's the way I used to think about it before 2020. I actually haven't been able to buy staff since like maybe mid 2020. I used to buy staff cards a lot just because I actually liked the stamp. Wasn't much of a smart person, population wise. I just personally like the stamps, staff stamps. And what do you guys think? I mean, staff, are they coming back? Are they going to get staff back or no?
I don't think they definitively said they're like done forever. I think it was more of a on hold, on pause type thing. So it is open to where they could come back down the line. I think when Vivid Voltage staffs came, to me, it was just such an obvious thing. I bought like 12 or 15 sealed packs because you had Charizard, Snorlax, Lugia, and then the fourth being Donphin. But I strongly prefer them. I mean, give me a staff Evolution Zard compared to the regular one. I think they're a great way, like you said, to just make it a bit rarer. I mean, substantially rarer. I mean, order of magnitude or more rarer than the set release. So, but to say like first edition, I don't think there's really. It's tough, I guess. I guess a staff Charizard could probably have a print run lower than some of the first edition WotC Hollows, just because, I mean, Pokemon's a weird thing where like the first few years we had massive prints, we had the dead middle, and now we're having massive prints again. So it's an interesting thing. You just don't have the attrition with the staff cards like you did the first edition cards.
The hard part about staff compared to first edition is that it just like, it has that hurdle of education, right? Like people see first edition stamp and they get it, but like not every, even someone who's been, in the hobby for the past year or so might not even know what a staff card is, So, but yeah, I think especially like the ones like as time went on and the staff cards might have been lower run in some time frames, like especially like you said, like Evo, right? Those are pretty, you know, or to use your words, order of magnitude lower than the regular print. So yeah, I think there's always just that education hurdle around that stuff though. So that's what makes it hard. I don't know. They're not really for, I don't really care for them. Like, I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Not the biggest, you know, modern staff or modern promo guy anyway.
It wasn't a big deal in 2019.
Yeah.
Even up until 2019, it wasn't a big deal because you could buy them for cheap, $25, you know, less if it was a lesser known Pokemon. But now it's like the Charizard staff. It's a good looking artwork, but that one was, I don't even know what it's selling for. I stopped looking, but I wasn't able to buy it because it's so expensive. So
the hard thing is they're more rare, but they're still not rare enough, right? Either condition or absolute, like to make them a needle mover for me from like a value perspective, like what you're getting with what you're having to pay to obtain one now, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Even over the long run. I don't know. For me personally, it doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hype around them now that Pokemon said they were possibly going to stop printing them or pausing them or whatever. I think there's just way too much hype now of people trying to predict the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, jigs up. The jig is up, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mason says they're rare, but nobody cares. It's like,
exactly.
Well, somebody cares about that Charizard, right? But I can see that. They didn't care that much before. There were certain old staff cards that sold for $50 to $100 raw, in nice condition. But those were older, you know, I mean, in that dead period. But they were never thousands of dollars. So, yeah, do you guys have any parting words? Plug yourselves.
No,
I just want to say on the staff thing.
Go ahead.
I really hate this delay. I agree with Mason there. Like, no matter how rare they are, I don't really think the fact that staff is more, you know, there's more hype around it is going to make the Crabominable staff card worth a lot of money.
Right.
Maybe the Alolan Sandslash, but there's a lot of Pokemon that just got staff cards. It doesn't matter how rare they are. They're just never going to be popular. But like on the flip, like Entei has a really nice Cosmic Eclipse like pre-release. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For stuff like that, the underlying Pokemon is popular. I think staff, just someone that wants to fill out their collection or get something rare. But yeah, I think a vast majority are just too expensive right now. So that was it. Sorry for the lag.
Yeah, no, I agree. I own Mudkip, Marshtomp. I own Marshtomp's staff. But that's just because I liked staff cards. I wasn't even collecting Marshtomp. I'm not a Marshtomp collector. I used to collect staff. No longer. Too expensive. But yeah. So let's go around and let you guys kind of plug and let us know of. I'm actually talking to Rainy Day. Hopefully next weekend on the 10th. I believe that's next weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to pick Rainy Day's brain, that guy I'm really pumped to talk to. Yeah, that's all I got going on. Hopefully we can do something like this again. Maybe in a couple weeks we'll get some more sales. But I'm going to hand it off. Let OldSkool let you go.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Swammey. It's always an awesome time. These these games that you put on. Really do appreciate you having me on for a second time. And thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out. It's been an awesome time. Always enjoyable talking Pokemon. And if anyone's interested, follow me on YouTube. That's all I've got though.
Yeah,
Connor?
super thankful to be a part of this roundtable. Tons of fun. So thanks, Swammey, for putting it on. It's humbling to get to be a part of this, and the chat is just too much for me. You guys are awesome. Like that, there's still 40 whatever people this long in hanging out with us. It's super cool. Would love if you guys check out my YouTube channel, Rock Pokemon. I do videos every Monday, and then have a podcast that's in the early stages right now. So you'll get 1 to 3 videos a week, and then I'm over on Instagram as well, where I post a few times a week, and just try to help people make a little better decisions with where they're throwing their dollars nowadays in this hobby. So appreciate y'all.
Dan, you want to go?
Yeah. Thanks, Swammey, for having me on. Really liked watching the last one, and then being a part of this one was cool. Thanks to everyone in the chat for hanging out. Really great time. Just love talking Pokemon whenever I can. It was interesting to see the other things thrown in that I've got to do some more research into down the line. But you can find me, KetchumAll Collectibles, over on YouTube. And since you're here, make sure you're dropping the likes for Swammey, subbing if you haven't already.
Yeah, thanks.
shouting him out.
I feel like I needed a cue this whole time. I need, like,
You're good.
But yeah, thanks for having me on. I always thought it was cool. Like, the people that I spoke to today, like I've interacted with in the past, like Rock Pokemon messaged me on Instagram to buy a Misty's tier, and that's the first time I ever spoke to him. Dan, I just interacted with on like YouTube comments before I knew who he was, and then I talked to him on E4 Voice once, and I recognized his profile picture, and I realized like I've had conversations with him. And then I started watching. Swammey was like one of the first people I watched too, because I wanted to learn about grading with CGC, and he had that whole thing talking about them. And then I didn't shout old school Pokemon out too. I apologize for that, Nick. But you're also like
left out.
Cool. Yeah. It's just nice to see people that you interact with online, and to really get that that talking with them is much cooler. And it's like meeting people in conventions. Like that's same exact thing. Getting to put like the face behind the words. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I gotta say, Edison, grades my favorite stuff. Always check out his videos.
True.
He grades my favorite part. It's like every time he posts a video, it's like, oh, I love that card. Like I love all the cards.
Dude, it's wild. Yeah.
And Connor, you got those Monday market wrap ups, and then I like the new podcast. Dan, that spreadsheet you did with the print runs and the Patreon, that's amazing. That was incredible. And Old School, hey, you're back again. What do I gotta say? But you got a new Patreon too coming. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. The Flex Guides, I gotta get you in on one of these, and we'll catch y'all later.
See you guys. Be good.